Welcome, croeso, to another Miss HubNut video. Today we're in Machynlleth, which was once, or allegedly, the capital of Wales. It's been the home of Laura Ashley. It's got amazing antique shops, so much history. There's been an establishment here since the Bronze Age. But behind me is one of the most famous landmarks in Machynlleth. This is the clock tower, and it's been here since it's got 1873 on it. I was told the first stones were laid in 1874, but we'll go with 1873. Anyway, the most important bit was that when they were laid, it was to celebrate the 21st birthday of Viscount Castlereagh. And when they were laid, as the townspeople had contributed towards it, there was much merriment. You can't go wrong with a little bit of merriment over a clock tower. So we're going to take you around the town. It happens to be Wednesday today, so the market is in town. Market has actually been here for over 700 years, and we'll take you through some of the landmarks, some of the history, some of the stories of this little town. Here we are at Machynlleth railway station. The railway station was built in 1905, although I do believe that until 1948 Machynlleth was also served by the Corris narrow gauge railway. Now, Machynlleth is an interesting place from a railway perspective because this is where the train splits off into two. It either goes south to Aberystwyth or it goes north to Pwllheli. And the interesting thing about that train route is that it has certain request stops on there, which feels like a very British thing, the request stop. But Mr. HubNut wanted me to mention that said train does go through Llanfair Pwll Gwyngyll Go Ger Chwyryn Drobol Llantysilio Go Go Goch, or Llanfair PG as they tend to refer to it on the train. But if you are looking for an amazing train journey, I would highly recommend the train journey to Pwllheli. Absolutely beautiful. You go over all kinds of bridges, it's along the seafront, there's mountains. It's just a beautiful, beautiful train journey. So I would highly recommend that. Although, to be honest, the trip to Aberystwyth is also very nice, with the estuary going into Aberystwyth and everything. Absolutely glorious. Another thing about this railway is that we mentioned Viscount Castlereagh over at the tower and the celebration for his 21st birthday. Well, another son of Plas Machynlleth unfortunately had a less fortunate story. He was the director of Cambrian Railways, and do forgive me if I get his name wrong. It's Herbert Vane Tempest. I'm sure he might be a Lord Herbert Vane Tempest. Anyway, he was the director of Cambrian Railways, and he was killed, unfortunately, in the Abermule rail collision. 17 people died in that collision. I didn't even know about it until I started to research this. But this is the beauty of doing these videos, is that I'm learning all the time. So yes, Machynlleth railway station. And as you can see, there are various works going on. Is this a bridge replacement going on?
Yeah, bridge replacement.
A bridge replacement, yes, because there is a bridge over the River Aberdyfi, which I believe is over there. It's got 5 arches. It was built in 1805, but it has flooding issues, doesn't it?
It does.
Yes. So they're building a bridge replacement here. Not quite sure what's going to become of the old bridge, but hopefully it will stay. We did notice something interesting just over there, actually, which neither of us had noticed before. You can't quite see it from here, but we might do a quick stop there for all you car fans. I know that you're fans of dead brands, dead car brands, dead car names, and we found one just over there. It's lovely when you find a little gem, and this really is a little gem. A gentleman's just told us exactly how much of a gem this is. So up there we've got an Austin sign. Amazing. And just down here, I don't know if you can see because it's slightly blended into the wall, is an old cigarette machine as well. Now, it's now Mac Taxis. We just bumped into a gentleman and he talked us through some of the, how appropriate. He talked us through some of the history of the building. So it was Austin, and then it was a Rover dealership with the garage next door. They used to have a parts section at the front here and a big dolly to lift things down. Once it became a Rover dealership, they've got parts and actually machinery as well to machine the parts. So pretty amazing historical building, really. And we just didn't even know. But a huge thank you to the gentleman who just came out and told us all about it. They've also got a Rover sign, and there were 2 Austin signs, but one of them's been taken down due to some refurbishments. But yeah, what a brilliant building. Wow. sometimes things catch us in the moment, but that is a transport plane of some description, whether it's a Hercules or an Airbus, did you say? But Machynlleth has what's known as the Mach Loop, and it's where they test the planes, or fly the planes.
Yeah, low-level flying.
Yes, they do like low-level flying, and it's lower than the height of the mountains, and you can actually go and sit and watch the planes from below you, which is quite something to see. So here we are outside Museum of Modern Art, or it was known as a tabernacle. Now, tabernacle tends to be a chapel in Wales. As you can see, it is a chapel. It's currently working on appointments only, but it is absolutely well worth a visit. It's got some amazing exhibits. I had a little look online to see what they've got on offer at the moment. And they also do lots of classes and things. I remember coming here when I was probably about 15 and doing a photography workshop, and they sent us off into the hills. It was very interesting. But yes, a lovely place to come and visit. Sort of tucked away. Talking about transport links, we have two major roads that join here. The A489 goes that way, and the A487 goes that way, which is the coast road that takes us home. Gosh, this takes me back. My parents used to be shoe repairers, and they actually made me some shoes. So without even going in here, I can just smell the leather and the glue and everything. But just taking a moment to talk about Machynlleth from an artisan perspective. So many galleries, so many craft shops, so many handmade things. I mean, look at these beautiful shoes. So this is 35 Gwyn Street, and it's the home of the first Laura Ashley shop in 1961. The family actually apparently lived above this for 6 years before, obviously, it expanded. Now, if you haven't heard of Laura Ashley, you've probably seen the dresses. They were absolutely the epitome of 1980s fashion, with the lacy collars and the chintzy sort of patterns. I think I had a bridesmaid's dress that was Laura Ashley. It was white and pink stripes with a frilly neck and a big bow. I like to think that was a Laura Ashley dress. So the reason that we've come to Machynlleth on a Wednesday is that on a Wednesday there is a market here. As you can see, we're going to go and have a wander around the market. But the market's actually been here for over 700 years. It started by royal charter in 1291, and there's also allowed a biannual fair as well. But we're going to have a wander around the market to see what we can find. I'm a huge advocate of markets because I spent a lot of my formative years in markets. Have a very, very vivid memory of waking up in the back of a Renault Traffic with icicles hanging from the ceiling. So these are dedicated folks that are selling their wares here. So it's really good to give them your support. So I'm sat here outside of this 1404 building, which was Owen Glendord's Parliament House. Now, Machynlleth was at one point considered to be the capital of Wales because Owen Glendord sat here. Owen Glendord, if you don't know, was the last native-born Welsh prince, last native-born Prince of Wales. And from 1401, he started a war against the English. He actually had prisoners here. He held somebody called Dafydd Mab here, who was an ally of the English. And when he was let go, he actually went to the Battle of Agincourt and was actually killed. So, yes, he kind of got his comeuppance for betraying the Welsh. Anyway, Owen Glendord, from 1401, he started guerrilla warfare against the English. And in the first few years, he was extremely successful. He actually got support from the Bretons and the Scottish, and even from the King of France. But unfortunately, after a time, his forces were pushed back and pushed back and pushed back to the point that he had a confrontation in 1409 in Harlech Castle, and he only escaped by dressing as an old man. So he escaped dressed as an old man, and he was never really seen again. He kept popping up and doing small uprisings along the marches and so on and attacking the castles, but nothing really quite of note as to what he was before. He was last actually seen in 1412, and his death was reported, I believe, in 1415 at the age of 56. But Owen Glendord lives on. He is a huge symbol of Welsh independence, and he is a Welsh hero, and this is where he was based, Machynlleth. And actually, I think that the name Machynlleth might relate to him, but we'll talk about the name Machynlleth shortly. As we're outside the library, I thought I'd do the linguistic bit. So I mentioned that Owen Glendord might relate to the name Machynlleth, and that's because in Old Welsh, ma means place, and Cynlleth, or Cynllaeth, was an area of land that Owen Glendord owned. So it could be Kinllaith's place, so it relates to that area. That area was in Powys, so it could be. Another thought is that there was possibly a person called Kinllaith or Machynlleth who existed, but I can't find anything about that person. If you can, that would be fantastic. Another thinking is that you break it down. Ma is place, kin is fair or beautiful, and then the lleth is a sloping place, or lleithi I think the word was. So there's different interpretations of it, and I really wonder why Machynlleth wasn't anglicised, because it really is one of the most difficult Welsh place names to say, because it has 3 of these unique sounds that are in the Welsh language. The CH is a ch, the double L is a ll, and the TH is a th. Did we get that, guys? Just hawk up the phlegm while you're doing it. So Machynlleth is the name of the place. Now I'd like to think it wasn't anglicised because old Owen Glendord had his hold over it and he wouldn't let it happen. So it remains Machynlleth. Now this word here, llyfrgell, is the library. Oh God, there's so many things in there. It's on the rafters. Fire dogs. We just purchased some fire dogs. I could be in the market for some more. Oh, that's awesome in there. Oh my goodness. So our attempts to find a cafe, because you know we love to do the eating bit, have been somewhat thwarted in Machynlleth. Went into Cafe Alice, didn't we? Because it's next to
that was lovely
the parliamentary building.
Lovely old building.
Absolutely beautiful. There's loads of beautiful buildings around here.
It was full.
It was full. And then we went to another cafe, and a similar situation. So we went to the market and we got some samosas and onion bhajis. And somebody looks concerned because he's worried there's going to be weird things in these. What he means by weird things is
vegetables.
Vegetables, yes.
Yeah.
So we have a lamb samosa. Do you want the lamb samosa? So a samosa,
I definitely don't want the onion bhaji.
if you've not had one before, is a snack food. It's a pastry on the outside, and then you can have meat or vegetables on the inside. It tends to be a little bit curried, a little bit spicy. It's going in his mouth.
I've got to taste it.
It's actually nice.
That's very nice.
It's got meat in it. Now an onion bhaji.
And vegetables.
Whoa, you're eating vegetables. This is an onion bhaji. Now an onion bhaji, you make a batter with flour and so on, and then you chuck a load of onions in it, and they are just delicious. And I particularly love them with mango chutney.
That's actually really nice.
Really nice.
Oh, there's the heat. I'm very, very, very sensitive to
heat. Do you want to have a bite of this one?
No.
It's quite spicy as well. It's delicious. The onion is really, the flavour of the onion is really crisp. It's really, really nice. Really nice. Can I try a little bit of that one? Mm-hmm. So we went for the lamb samosa because this was an attempt to get somebody to eat it, and he's actually really,
Wales.
Really, and yeah.
Got a bit lamb. Really nice, isn't it? I'll finish it now.
It's really full. That is absolutely delicious. Absolutely full of meat and vegetables. That's really. There's a lovely spice to it. It's not too strong a kick. I don't think that's a peppery hit. I think that's a spice hit.
Yeah,
that's
I can
really
just feel it down the back
delicious.
of my throat.
Yes.
Lovely.
Yeah, good stuff. Cheers.
Cheers. Yachi da.
Oh, yechi da. So yechi da, if you don't know, is good health. So we're here outside Plas Machynlleth, which was the family home of Viscount Castleteague of the Castle Tower, the Clock Tower, and Lord Herbert Vane Tempest, who was the director of Cambion Railways, who unfortunately died in the Abermule collision. Now, the interesting thing is that the Lord Herbert was actually the last resident of this building, and it was given to the townspeople of Machynlleth in 1948. Now, what do you do with a big property like that? Well, in 1995, they created something called Celtica, which was a tourist attraction. Tourism is very, very big in this area. So they created Celtica, which was an audio-visual walkthrough experience. I believe it was this extension over here, but it didn't last very long. Unfortunately, dwindling visitor numbers and whatnot meant that that died away. And there was the big question mark of what to do with Plas Machynlleth. And actually, Machynlleth Town Council took it on, which is unprecedented for a small town council like Machynlleth's. Now it's currently cafe on the bottom floor, and it's got offices above. Now, as you can see, we're coming to the end of our video because mae'n bwrw glaw a mae'n oer iawn. It's raining and it is very cold today. I hope you've enjoyed this tour of Machynlleth. There's lots of beautiful things to go and see in the local area. The Corris narrow gauge railway doesn't reach Machynlleth anymore, but it does still exist. There's also a arts and crafts centre in Corris that includes, I believe it's called Arthur's Labyrinth, because King Arthur is massive around this area. And you have, of course, the Centre for Alternative Technology. It's a very environmentally friendly area around here. Lots of recycling and so on, and that is the big centre for that, and well worth a visit. I believe it's been there since the 1970s. So here we are under a stone commemorating Owen Glendord. Interesting to know, Owen Glendord is mentioned in Shakespeare as Owen Glendor, and he was a foreign king who was very exotic and exciting. David, who he kept imprisoned here, is listed in Shakespeare as well, but only as one of the dead in, I believe, the Battle of Agincourt. So Owen Glendor ruled the day. Sounds like I'm a proper fangirl, doesn't it? Anyway, so this brings us to the end of our tour of Machynlleth. It's been a lovely day, despite the rain and the cold. I hope you've enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll see you soon in another Miss HubNut video. Lots of things going on the HubNut channel and the HubNotes channel at the moment, and hopefully we'll get some more Miss HubNut videos in now that we don't have to do big exciting things like going to the NEC, and indeed the arranging for going to the NEC. So thank you very much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you soon in another video.